Greetings, welcome, and thank you for tuning in. I'm Christian of Standing Stones Healing, supporting you with healing experiences, coaching, and encouragement during your life changes, challenges, and transitions. Thanks for joining me in this episode of Ask the Stones, where I offer answers to your spiritual questions and encouragement for your journey. Greetings, welcome, and thank you for tuning in to this episode of Ask the Stones. This episode is about setting boundaries. And the question is from Tara. Tara writes, I think I have a problem setting boundaries. My friend is always asking for my help, like watching her kids or letting her dog out while she's at work. I'm okay with this sometimes, but it happens a lot more than I want. She has even started coming over to visit without asking, and I'm not comfortable with that. I don't want to be mean, but I don't know what to do, and I hope you can help. Tara. Well, Tara, I hope I can help too. Thank you very much for that question. I appreciate you bringing that forward because, the truth is that setting boundaries and setting healthy boundaries is a real challenge, and a challenge for all of us at different times in our lives and in different situations. So thank you, Tara, for this question. And this is, of course, a common challenge that many of us face. When it comes to setting boundaries, sometimes we have a challenge with this because we want to be a good person. We want to be someone who is helpful. We want to be someone who is caring. We want to be the kind of person who is going to watch our friends' kids or let their dog out. We want to be that person who helps. Sometimes, though, the helping of others hurts us. Sometimes, when we are so devoted to helping others, we are actually hurting ourselves. And so, Tara, I feel that in this instance, there is harm being done to you. You're being inconvenienced, you're feeling uncomfortable, you're feeling intruded upon. Most likely you're feeling these things. I don't know for a fact that you are, but it seems so, Tara. And so it seems to me that this is not a good situation for you. Obviously, you want out. So when we want to help, sometimes we are actually hurting ourselves. But when we set boundaries, it's important for us to keep in mind that it's not something that we are doing to someone else, but rather something that we are doing for ourselves. So, Tara, in setting boundaries, in saying, okay, friend, I will watch your kids on Saturday, but I will not watch them on Sunday too. When you say no to someone, and of course, boundary setting is very much involved with no's, because there are points at which you really are saying no, figuratively perhaps, literally perhaps, but certainly you are saying no. This is a line that you will not cross. So the first recommendation I have for you in setting boundaries is to recognize that this is not something that you are doing to your friend by turning down watching her children. It's not something you are doing to her, but rather for you. You know, anytime we say yes to someone, it's actually a no to ourselves. Now, this is not necessarily a bad thing. So don't anybody or everyone write in the comments, Christian, you're saying that we shouldn't be doing nice things and we shouldn't be saying yes to others. No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that anytime someone asks you to do something, someone requests a favor from you, even someone invites you over to hang out, saying yes to that is saying no to something else you are going to do. Because if you weren't hanging out with your friend, if you weren't doing them the favor, you would be doing something else with your time. And let's be honest, sometimes that something else is preferable to what you're saying yes to. So, you know, when we say yes to someone, something, we are saying no to something else. And of course, sometimes that's absolutely wonderful, but just being aware of that is important. So when your friend comes over and you let her in, you're saying yes to her, but Tara, you are saying no to yourself. You're saying no to, maybe you were just about to kick up your feet on the couch with some popcorn and watch a Netflix show. And so when your friend comes in and interrupts your original plans, that yes to her is a no to you. So I'm going to recommend that you recognize that when you say yes to watching her kids, you are saying no to yourself. And again, you may very well decide that, yes, I do want to say yes. And, that's great. But what you really want is for it to be a choice. That when you are saying yes, it's because you are choosing to say yes. And it's not a yes out of guilt. It's not a yes out of obligation. As a matter of fact, with guilt, guilt is huge with boundary setting. And since I'm mentioning guilt right now, I do want to say that I actually received the message from Spirit once years ago that guilt does not exist in the spiritual realm. So in the spirit world, guilt does not exist, and that guilt is a human emotion, a purely human emotion. So the angels, at least according to the message I've received, say don't even bother with guilt. It doesn't mean we still don't feel it, right? I know for myself that's certainly the case at times. But make sure that when you are saying yes, that it is out of a choice, that you are consciously choosing and know the ramifications of that yes and how it can be, it very well may be a no to yourself. So what else with setting boundaries? Setting boundaries is all about respecting yourself. So this idea of a no to yourself, a yes to someone else. So I'm going to recommend, Tara, that you really think about the love that you have for yourself, and bringing that to this situation. So when I said that setting boundaries isn't something that you are doing to your friend or to someone else, but rather for you, that's really from a place of self-love and self-respect. To say, I love myself, and yes, I have watched my friends' children in the past, and yeah, I might be willing to do that again, but I love myself, and I'm going to use that time in other ways. I'm going to express love for myself by setting this boundary. You know, we often think of boundaries as quote unquote bad things, but they're not. Boundaries are actually very good and very healthy things. And so setting boundaries is not a bad thing. This is a very good thing. When you set boundaries, you can feel more comfortable. So when you set boundaries in a relationship, you can feel more comfortable. You can feel more safe. You know, you can feel safe knowing that your friend isn't just going to stop over unannounced and interrupt whatever it was you might be doing, maybe Netflix on the couch. And so making sure that you are setting boundaries is important. When you don't set boundaries, as you know, Tara, it can have a negative impact on you. So I want to encourage you to set boundaries and to know what your boundaries are. And the truth is, everyone, that we don't always know what our boundaries are until they're crossed, right? So Tara, you may not know that it's a boundary for you to not have a friend stop over unannounced until that happens. So, don't also beat yourself up, please, for having boundaries crossed that you didn't even realize were boundaries. But, once you do have a boundary crossed, then you want to approach that setting of the boundary from a place of self-love, from a place of doing it for yourself and not to someone else, and even out of a place of respect, not just for you, for yourself, which is very important, but also for the person with whom you are setting the boundary. Because setting boundaries and allowing boundaries to be respected by your friend allows you to have a more positive relationship with your friend. So when you set boundaries with your friend, and hopefully they're respected by your friend, then it allows you to feel more comfortable in the relationship and to enjoy the relationship more. And I'm sure your friend wants that. I'm sure your friend wants you to enjoy the friendship. I'm sure your friend does not want to be a pain in the butt friend. And your friend probably doesn't even realize that she's being a pain in the butt friend, and doesn't mean to be. But when you set boundaries and they are respected by everyone, then it allows the relationship to be a positive one of mutual respect and fulfillment. So, setting boundaries is a very good thing. How do we approach this now, Tara? How do you approach your friend to set these boundaries? I think very much from that standpoint of self-love, very much from a standpoint of understanding, and also expressing your interest in continuing to assist your friend when you want to and when it works for you. So, hey friend, I am really happy to watch your kids for you on Saturdays or every other Saturday, or 2 Saturdays a month, but I'm sorry, as much as I love your kids, I just don't have the time to watch your kids every Saturday. And when you can approach it from a standpoint of understanding and respect and kindness and even compassion for your friend who probably does not realize that she is transgressing your boundaries and probably doesn't even realize or mean to be taking advantage of you. Now, Tara, I will say that if you set boundaries with your friend and she is not respecting them, then, after you've had some conversations, and if someone continues to cross boundaries, then you may want to have a hard think about that relationship and whether or not that is positive and healthy for you. Because ultimately, you want your boundaries to be respected, and boundaries do need to be respected. When you set boundaries, Tara, boundaries are not about another person. Boundaries are about you. So the boundaries that you set actually have nothing to do with another person. They are all about you. Christian, what do you mean? My friend is coming over to my house unannounced. That's all about her. Yeah, sure. She's the one conducting the behavior, but someone else may have no problem with this and may welcome having her as an unannounced visitor. And so for someone else, this may not be a boundary. But so, Tara, your boundaries are about you and not anyone else. Now, that does not mean that you should feel guilty about your boundaries. As a matter of fact, everyone, any boundaries that you set are absolutely okay. You do not need to apologize for any boundaries that you set. You do not need to feel guilty about your boundaries. You do not need to feel bad about setting boundaries. Remember, setting boundaries is healthy. But your boundaries are about you and not another person. So, Tara, your boundary of, not wanting your friend to come over unannounced is your boundary. It's not a boundary that's about your friend. It's about you. And again, I don't say that for you to feel guilt over that or to feel bad or to feel like this is your problem. No, no, no. I say that to encourage you that the setting of boundaries is your choice, and the setting of boundaries is within your power. So I encourage everyone listening that when you set boundaries, to know that the boundaries you are setting are about you and not about another person. Or, you can even set boundaries that don't have to do with people, but have to do with activities or anything else. And so the setting of boundaries is not a bad thing. And there's no need to feel bad or guilty about any boundaries that you set. And I recommend, again, recognizing that these boundaries are about you. Your limits, what is comfortable or uncomfortable with you, about feeling safe, about what feels right to you and what doesn't feel right. And that differs from person to person. And so I also recommend that when you set boundaries that are important to you and firm, that you not allow others to dissuade you. And pay attention if someone is trying to transgress your boundaries, to talk you out of setting those boundaries. Pay attention because this is a person you may not want to be spending too much time with or having too much interaction with, because it's very important that we respect one another's boundaries. And so likewise, Tara, you want your friend to respect your boundaries, so I recommend that everyone respect other people's boundaries, whatever those are. Remember, their boundaries are not about you. They're about them. And respecting others' wishes and desires around boundaries, whether they are physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, whatever those boundaries are, please respect boundaries. Very important as we navigate this human experience. So what else on setting boundaries, Tara? Be firm with your boundaries. Remember, you're coming at this from a place of love for yourself. And so I do recommend that once you set a boundary, to be firm with that boundary and to be firm out of love and respect for yourself. You are setting your boundaries because you love yourself. And you want your boundaries to stay firm because you love yourself. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't change your mind. Of course, we're humans. We change our minds, and that's not a bad thing. As we gain new information, we are allowed to change our minds. But, again, knowing when that's a choice and making sure that you are communicating authentically with others about your boundaries. This is one of the hardest things about boundary setting, isn't it? I know, for sure. You know, when you set a boundary and communicating that boundary, you know, maybe we might have fear that people will be upset with us. You know, you say, Tara, I don't want to be mean. Yeah. We're afraid that when we set boundaries, we're being mean. And so we're afraid that when we set boundaries that people are going to be upset and angry. But making sure that you are firm in your boundaries is going to be important. Remember, you're doing it for you and not to them. And so the way that I would further recommend addressing this instance with your friend is to, first of all, let her know that you value her friendship. Hopefully, if you do, you know, if you don't value the friendship, then I really encourage you to take a hard look at it and determine if this is a positive relationship for you, and if this is a relationship that you want to continue, or perhaps you want to downgrade. And if either of those is the case, again, to not feel guilty about that. I encourage you. I'm not going to tell you not to feel guilty. It's your choice to feel how you want to feel, Tara. I'm going to encourage you not to feel guilty about that. But you know, emphasizing to her first and foremost that you value your friendship, that, you know, even if you do feel that you are happy to help out, as a matter of fact, you say, Tara, that this is okay. Let me reread this question. I'm okay with this sometimes, you say. So letting her know that, hey, you know, I'm happy to watch your kids sometimes. I'm happy to let your dog out while you're at work sometimes. But, you know, I have other things I need to do. Remember, the yes to her is a no to you. And so, you know, fill in the blank with whatever resonates with you. But letting her know that you value her and your friendship, and you are happy to continue to assist her, and setting up clear indications of what those boundaries are and what they mean to you. So, friend, I am happy to let your dog out on Tuesday mornings. I can come let your dog out on Tuesday morning. But I'm sorry, I cannot do it at any other time. And then Tara, stick to that. Oh, could you maybe do it Wednesday afternoon? You know, I don't get home from work until late on Wednesday afternoon. I'm sorry, friend. I can do Tuesday mornings, and that is the time that I can do. So bringing it back to what you can do and re-emphasizing that, reinforcing that, and staying clear on those boundaries, being specific and clear. I hope that's helpful, Tara. The main thing I really want to encourage you on is that setting boundaries is healthy. Setting boundaries is important. Setting boundaries is what you're doing for yourself and not to someone else. And setting boundaries is an act of self-love. So, Tara, as I've been talking, you may have been hearing the shuffling of the cards. I'm going to pull a card for you. And Tara, I'm also going to send some Reiki to you. And I'm going to send Reiki specifically to your relationship with your friend. And I'm also going to send the intention to anyone listening who would like to receive Reiki. You are welcome to. If you would not like to, it will not go to you, so don't worry. And I'm also going to send it specifically if you would like assistance with help setting boundaries, which is an important life skill that we are always working on and improving upon. So let's just take a few deep breaths. Thank you. Okay, Tara, so let's pull a card. So, Tara, I have pulled for you the Five of Pentacles. And I'm also pulling out my angel cards, too, because I would like to pull... I'm going to pull a couple of cards here for you, Tara. So let's pull a couple of cards. Okay. So the tarot card that I have pulled for you is the Five of Pentacles. And of course you can't see my deck. I use the Celtic Dragon Tarot. And this card is really all about differences, a difference of opinion. This idea of a split and, specifically in terms of opinions, thoughts, ideas. So I think that really makes some real sense for your current experience. What I'm picking up from this card is the encouragement to ask for assistance, to ask for assistance from our angels and our spirit guides with the setting of the healthy boundaries and with the relationship itself. So, Tara, don't be afraid to call upon all of the help that surrounds you. what I'm also picking up from this card is that this is a turning away. So it's a difference of opinion, but a turning away from meeting that difference. So kind of like an avoidance of the hard discussion. Now, of course, you can't see my card, but the drawing on this card is of one person looking at another person as that other person turns away from them and is walking away. Hence this idea of the difference of opinion, the conflict, and with the turning away, Tara, there is a desire to turn away from the conflict and not address it. I actually think that makes a lot of sense for your relationship, for this experience. So what I'm picking up is I'm going to encourage you to not be the one turning away and to not be the one turning your back on the challenge, the difficult conversation, but to rather turn and face this difference of opinion and the challenging conversation. So this is a conversation, Tara, that you definitely want to have. You want to turn and address this. Call upon guidance and assistance for you to speak out of love and compassion and respect. So I encourage you to bring those things to the discussion that you have with your friend. And I'm going to draw an archangel card for you as well, Tara, and let's see what further guidance we might have on this. Not just for you, but for anyone who is listening and interested in in guidance on this topic. Okay, so the card that I have pulled is Angel Therapy. Archangel Raphael says, "Give your cares and worries to us angels and allow us to take your burdens." Okay, loud and clear. We are getting the encouragement to ask for help. So, Tara, I hope I could help. And I also know that your angels, your guides are here to assist you at every turn, and that this experience is no different. I encourage you to get quiet and to seek assistance from them. How? Just ask. Just ask and be open. Be open to listening to the answers. Be listening to the guidance. Thank you, Tara, for this wonderful question, because setting boundaries is so important and something that we all are challenged to do. So I encourage everyone listening to set healthy boundaries, respect and love yourself. Know that boundaries are not a bad thing. They are an expression of self-love, and to set your boundaries out of love for yourself. I send blessings and best wishes to you all for healthy and happy boundaries. Best wishes on your journey. And again, I am Christian of Standing Stones Healing Company, supporting your journey with healing experiences, coaching, and encouragement for life's changes, challenges, and transitions. Blessings. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Ask the Stones. If you have a question for the Stones, visit standingstoneshealing.com or connect on Facebook at Standing Stones Healing to get support through your life changes, challenges, and transitions. Thank you, and best wishes for your journey.